To configure the application for identity, we need to go to the startup class. So let's go to startup.cs. And here we'll need to add some services. We already added a service for the app DB context, and now we will add another service for the app identity DB context. And it's going to be very similar. In fact, so similar that I'm going to copy this line for the services.add DB context and paste it under it. So we are adding a DB context for the identity, so it's still services and adding DB context, but this is for the app identity DB context. And everything else stays the same. We want to connect to the SQL server and we pass in the connection string to our database. Now we also have to add a service for the identity. So we'll do services.add identity. And in the identity, we will have our classes for the user and the role, so we'll pass that in. So this is gonna be for the app identity user, and the second one is for the app identity role. And to that, we will also add the, as you can see in the IntelliSense, it already knows that we want to add the entity framework stores. And the IntelliSense tells us that it adds an entity framework implementation of identity information stores. So this is how it's gonna be in our database. And in it, we are passing the DB context for identity that we created. So that is the app identity DB context. And I'm going to add one more service, and that is to configure cookies for the application. So this is gonna be services dot configure application cookie, and in the Lambda we will specify two things. We will specify the path to login and a path to the access denied. Now we don't have these yet, but we are going to of course create this path a little later. So we will have our login page as well as a page for access denied. So this is gonna be options for the Lambda, and here I will specify the Lambda for the login. So this is going to be options dot login path, and the login path is going to be for the security slash and then sign in. And then we will have the access denied. So this is options dot access denied path, and again we'll go to security slash and we'll have an access denied. So now access denied view is just gonna be a view without any model or any specific code. We will simply display access denied in that view. But this is gonna be the path that we are going to be using. So it's gonna be something like localhost slash security slash access denied. Now let's have a look at the configure method. And here we are already having app use authorization that came by default with the template, but what we also need is the authentication, and authentication comes before the authorization. We first need to authenticate the user before we authorize the user. So we'll use app.use and then authentication. And with this we can now add our identity tables into our Northwind database. So let's do that next.